John Polis, the head of Dominion Voting Services. He recently gave testimony before the Michigan Senate, and he said many specific things that you've said you can specifically disprove, and you can prove that he lied to the Michigan Senate.
Yes, he did. He had numerous lies.
And so there's no way he was confused about what location it was?
No, there was absolutely no way. They were very specific on what location it was.
And you're 100% confident he lied to the Michigan Senate?
Oh, he lied. I have numerous notes of his lies. In the first 20 minutes, he lied so many times, I had to keep pausing it and just... The guy lied through his teeth with everything. Let me just say this, too. We gave our testimonies on December 1st. He's had 15 days to go through and listen to our testimonies and figure out what he is going to come back with. He knew every single allegation that he was going to have to face in court. That's not fair. That is not fair. I would like to know why they didn't ask him where he's been. They've been trying to get him in court forever. All they said was, thank you. We appreciate you being here. They should have said, where have you been? We've been trying to get a hold of you, and, you haven't responded. And now this is the CEO, and, he's just coming out. I love, too, how here's a good lie. Smartmatic saying their company has no ties to Smartmatic at all, right? I'm sorry, but I was given a binder this thick from Dominion the day I started, and which is very bizarre too that Danielle mentioned right before she left, she saw one of the binders sitting on a table on the stage, and she said, Nick, do you want me to leave this here, or do you want to take it with you? And he said, what is that? And she's like, it's our binder for work. And he's like, no, we'll take it. And she goes, well, you know what I mean. I don't know if we should leave it here. Even people that were wearing American flags, they were saying people that were wearing American flags on their masks or on their shirts were Trump supporters. And so what does that tell you? What does that tell you? That tells you that, what, Democrats hate America. They hate America. They're talking bad about our American flag.
Were there any Dominion contractors or staffers that you saw make pro-Trump or pro?
No, not one time. No. And the whole time I was there, I'll repeat this, and I've said it numerous times, I never saw a ballot for Trump, not one single one in 27 hours. They were all for Biden. I did not see a single, not one, ballot for Trump, not one. That is crazy. These ballots were filled out straight Biden. They had to hurry up. They had no idea that Trump was ahead like that. It just hit them. Why would you send one of your top guys to the Department of Elections, to the Chicago warehouse, to assist when you guys have nothing to do with the Department of Elections, and you guys, in your company, and your employees?
Right, there would be no machines there.
There would be no reason for them to go there if they had nothing to do with it, right? That was a lie. The guy just spewed out lies like you wouldn't believe. There was a forensic examination done on the hardware, the voting hardware, that proved that it did sway the election. 68%. That was dropping 68% of the votes. How in the world do they allow this man to sit in court the very next day after the forensic examination report came out and lie? The Democrats, I've said this numerous times, have taken every avenue to cheat in this election. Every avenue. It started with COVID and convincing people to do the mail-in voting, which Trump has warned us about. That we've been warned numerous times forever about mail-in voting. Not to do it. Don't ever do it. It's a door to fraud. It is opening a door to fraud. And we are so dumb we did it. And look what it did. Look where we're at. We can't decide who's president. Well, we know who is because Donald Trump won in a landslide, and we all know that. But the fact is that they can actually argue that it didn't happen and that Biden won. Now here we come in with the city officials, Daniel Baxter, that picked the people to do the adjudication process, which were both Democrats. It's supposed to be a Republican and a Democrat. It was not a Republican and a Democrat 90% of the time. I heard one conversation that two women, one of the women said to the other one, "Are you a Democrat or Republican?" She said, "I'm a Democrat." The other one said, "So am I." And they sat together. I watched that. All right, the tabulating machines were sitting next to just a monitor, that gave the option to discard or rescan. What I did notice is that there was a connection in the bottom right-hand corner, some kind of a network connection. I wasn't allowed to touch the hardware, so I wouldn't have been able to verify it, but they were online.
The public statements you've made about Dominion, they could sue you for defamation.
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah. If you weren't
so should I sue them for defamation because they're not telling the truth?
Well, I think it's notable that they're very careful not to call you a liar. Are you aware of anything that you've said that has been disproven so far?
Nothing I say will be disproven. And my story won't change. It won't change because the truth does not change.
Melissa, thanks for being with us again.
Thank you.
We talked yesterday about John Polis, the head of Dominion Voting Services.
Mm-hmm.
He recently gave testimony before the Michigan Senate, and he said many specific things that you've said you can specifically disprove, and you can prove that he lied to the Michigan Senate.
Yes, he did. He had numerous lies. One in which I spoke of yesterday with the steel ballot boxes, he said, were directly under the tabulating machines. They were not directly under the tabulating machines. The ballot batches sometimes will fall directly from the tabulator into a steel ballot box. At the TCF Center, that was not the case. The steel ballot boxes were behind the workers, open and available at all times. So, which is the reason why they were able to run these batches of ballots so many times and keep running them.
And so Polis was saying that they deposit directly from the tabulator into the steel ballot boxes as a way of saying that these things were safe and secure, mm-hmm. and that there couldn't be any alterations done.
Correct.
But you're saying that's not true.
That is not true, not at all. And there's numerous people that will testify to that. Everybody that was there.
How many tabulating machines were there?
There were a total of 22.
Did any of them have a steel ballot box?
Not one. Not one.
And the TCF Center is where they counted the votes from Wayne County in Michigan. Correct. Which covers Livonia, Detroit, and some of the other Detroit suburbs. Is that right?
I believe so. I do. I do know that there was also some other counting centers in the cities like Livonia. But I do believe that they were Wayne County, not just Detroit.
And so there's no way he was confused about what location it was?
No, there was absolutely no way. They were very specific on what location it was.
And you're 100% confident he lied to the Michigan Senate?
Oh, he lied. I have numerous notes of his lies. In the first 20 minutes, he lied so many times I had to keep pausing it and just... The guy lied through his teeth with everything. Let me just say this too. We gave our testimonies on December 1st. He's had 15 days to go through and listen to our testimonies and figure out what he is going to come back with. He knew every single allegation allegation that he was going to have to face in court. That's not fair. That is not fair. I would like to know why they didn't ask him where he's been. They've been trying to get him in court forever. All they said was, thank you. We appreciate you being here. They should have said, where have you been? We've been trying to get a hold of you, and, you haven't responded. And now this is the CEO, and, he's just coming out. I love, too, how here's a good lie. Smartmatic saying their company has no ties to Smartmatic at all, right? I'm sorry, but I was given a binder this thick from Dominion the day I started, and which is very bizarre too that Danielle mentioned right before she left, she saw one of the binders sitting on a table on the stage, and she said, Nick, do you want me to leave this here, or do you want to take it with you? And he said, what is that? And she's like, it's our binder for work. And he's like, no, we'll take it. And she goes, well, you know what I mean. I don't know if we should leave it here. And I'm thinking, why? Well, anyways, that binder speaks, the very first page is Smartmatic. Smartmatic software, here's how it works, everything about it. Why would you be talking about it in your binder for Dominion if you're not connected to them?
Right.
Makes zero sense. Makes zero sense at all. I have all of I have the whole binder, and I have it backed up about 50,000 times onto different computers, laptops, and all my friends have it.
And Mr. Polo said that, he started out by listing a series of what he called conspiracy theories in a disinformation campaign.
He's a conspiracy theory.
And he also said that he would not address former employees or contractors, obviously referencing you,
right,
or current ones, including Eric Coomer,
yes,
who's been in the news about Dominion Systems as well. But you're saying Smartmatic is in Dominion's own manuals.
If you want me to pull it up, I have it right here on my phone. I can show everybody on air. So Smartmatic is a part of the software they use. They use Smartmatic software. For him to say that is it not only just a direct lie, but I can't even believe he said it because it can be proven. I'm going to prove it right now. I mean, this guy comes on and says this stuff, and it's like, do you not think people save things, or and these notes have been given to every to Rudy Giuliani, to Sidney Powell, to everyone. So if he thinks that everybody doesn't see right through what he's talking about, then he's crazy. The guy's nuts.
And the Smartmatic software, for people who don't understand, was developed in
Venezuela
to help fix the Venezuelan election.
It was developed, and that's another thing he lied about. He said, we have no Dominion has no ties to Venezuela. Our software was not developed in Venezuela. Bobby, do you have that? Do you have that Smartmatic thing for me in your notes? Correct. So he said that their software wasn't developed in Venezuela by two Venezuelan men to sway an election. He said it has nothing to do and never has been tied to Hugo Chavez. He says that in the very beginning, he says, my company is based out of Denver, Colorado. That is true in a way. Like you said yesterday, he uses his wording in a way that you could take it and it makes sense. If you didn't know the whole story, you would think that what he's saying is the truth, but he's saying it in a way that could be flipped to make him be telling the truth, somewhat of the truth, because his company originated in, well, let's get real. It started in Venezuela, then Canada, then was moved to Colorado. So, and then here's another thing. The Clintons, he said, don't have anything and never have had anything to do with my company. There is evidence, proven evidence, that the Clintons gave Dominion large amounts of money. I don't know where this guy is coming from or why he would say the things that he said under oath. He was under oath, let's say that. So, I think we should all be held to the same standard here in America when we're under oath. And
you filed sworn affidavits attesting to the things that you've said.
Yes.
And he's also saying things that are now in conflict with the things that you've said.
100% in conflict with. 100% in conflict with.
And some people may be fooled by the fact that he's confusing several different terms, since the Smartmatic software was developed in Venezuela, and the corporate entity he founded, which eventually purchased the companies involved, and through corporate mergers and through software mergers, eventually became Dominion Voting Services.
Right. So, like I was told, sorry, he's going to be finding that here. So, Dominion has changed their name numerous times. They were taken out of America over 10 years ago. They were banned from America. Somehow they swindled their way back in. Through using different names, through changing their names, which I'm not sure if I've told you this before, but I have mentioned this to the public before. China, Danielle, that was working with me at the TCF Center, she had been working with Dominion for 3 years, 3 or more years, she said, around that. And she told me that, because we talked a lot throughout the night, her and I were the only two women like really working together. She said that Dominion started as a very small company, and the way she explained it is that they bought up very, very small companies along the way, and that's how they're growing. I think she was confused with them changing their names along the way. That's how she was told, or how she took it. But but you tie it in together, and it kind of makes a little bit of sense.
And you mentioned her in other interviews with us, but also with other outlets, that she used a fake name on election night when
she did,
when dealing with you. Was her fake name was China?
Her real name was China.
Her real name.
Her
China.
fake name is her middle name is Danielle. Is what she told me. If I don't know if that's the truth, if her middle name's Danielle, but that's what she goes by, and that's what she went by.
Right.
She did make a couple comments to me regarding my hair color. She said, the reason why she goes by Danielle is because she couldn't get a job with the name China. She said, I suggest you change your hair color, so people have a different impression of you. She said, you're a very smart person, but people look at your hair color and think you're dumb. Which makes me think, is that why Dominion hired me?
The other person that you said that they hired, the other contractor, was a very older fellow, you said.
Yes, he was. He was such a sweet man.
What was his name?
His name was my last name Smiles, Mr. Smiles. I think it was Miles Smiley, but he was just such a sweet man. And these were people that were supposed to have a background in IT, because we're there to assist with IT. And when they called me initially for the position, they went over my resume and said, you got, we like your background and this and that. Well, and he was also from Tennessee. I know I said in the hearing, I said Tennessee and then I said Texas. I was so frustrated with those people. But he just literally wandered around. There was no reason for him to be there.
And so you've talked about your background a bit, and you just mentioned that's why you think they hired you.
Mm-hmm.
Your credibility's been under attack, and not just after your first affidavit, but also after your testimony before both the Michigan House and the Michigan Senate. Is there any one detail that you have gotten wrong? Is there any one thing so far that you've said that you feel has been disproven?
No. What I am saying is the truth. It is what I saw. My eyes don't lie. And my story won't change. It's the truth.
And your credibility was under attack in Wayne County, where one judge, Timothy Kenny, said that your statements were not credible compared with all the statements of other officials.
Right. Compared to the other affidavits, yes. Which I will state this, that if he did any kind of background research, or if he even read my title, he would have understood that, of course, mine is going to be a little bit different. I was working for Dominion. I was on the stage. The other people were poll watchers. They didn't hear that Samuel was going to the Chicago warehouse to assist with ballots. They didn't hear that. They didn't hear that there was a big data loss, which wasn't a data loss. And I know. I personally know that. I personally know that to be a fact.
Right.
That was when they found out Trump was ahead.
And I think it's notable that the fact-check organizations have deemed you not credible because of Judge Kenny's determination. Judge Kenny did not specify in the order that I read why he viewed you were not credible, other than to say, compared with the other statements.
Yes, he said, so my affidavit doesn't square with the other statements.
And then the other thing that doesn't seem to be reported is that the Michigan Supreme Court has instructed Judge Kenny to have a hearing to determine the credibility of these witnesses, something that was never done.
Never done. I have never stood in front of him, ever, no. So and if I did, I would have a lot to say to him.
So no one has really determined your credibility. It's just that two-word phrase seems to be used without regard to the specific things that you're saying.
Of course it has, yes. And that's going to keep being, and he probably has saw me, which who hasn't, with talking to in the hearings. And he probably doesn't want me to stand in front of him because he knows what I'm going to say to him.
Well, and the things that you're saying also don't seem super technical.
Right? No, they're not. They're not.
The observations that you made could have been made by a layman.
Absolutely.
And so it seems as though that issue of credibility keeps coming up because they have nothing else to say.
They're scared of me. They're scared of me. And he probably doesn't want me, like I said, standing in front of him because he knows that I'm going to let loose on him for saying that because it was such a bold statement and it was so untrue. You can't say somebody's not credible that you don't know. And you can't say that they're not credible because their affidavit doesn't square up with everybody else's. Well, like I just said, why would it? And a lot of it does. There's just a couple things on there that are different.
And now your personal life has been drug into this, right? The Daily Mail, a British publication, has brought in pictures of you from 10 years ago, domestic disputes from 10 years ago with I believe you told me it was your fiance's ex-lover making, it sounds like bogus complaints over and over. And all that seems to be to take away from, are you telling the truth right here and now?
Yeah, so all she's doing is making false accusations just to get her name out there. And I'm not even going to say her name for that reason. But like I said before, numerous times to other people, other news channels, this is not about me. It's not about me as a person. This isn't about anyone as a person. This is about what I watched, what I saw, the election fraud that I saw happening in front of my face at the TCF Center, over 20 counts of it. And, you know, to bring yourself into it and to bring anything else into it is unacceptable. It's unacceptable, and it is, all it's doing is trying to either, number one, put yourself in the spotlight, you know, and try to get some media attention, because now there's a GoFundMe page open, you know, with my first and last name on it, which there's a lawsuit open with that too. So anyways, that, it's putting yourself in the spotlight, and it's trying to get the attention off the truth.
Right.
And I'm not going to allow it to happen. It's not going to happen. Not on my clock.
And, you know, we've talked with dozens of witnesses who are GOP poll challengers at the TCF Center. Mm. They described the exact same things you were describing. They described multiple ballots being run through the tabulators. They described the override process. They described the lack of ballot security. They described the networking of the Dominion voting machines. Mm-hmm. They're repeating many of the same things, but a lot of the fire seems to be pointed at you. You know, the Daily Mail also ran a story about, you know, you being an exotic dancer 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. You know, you were lampooned on Saturday Night Live. I mean, of probably 50 video statements that have been collected and 1,000 affidavits, you know, yours is the story they are trying to hurt. Why do you think that is?
They're scared of me. They are scared of me. They know the information that I have. They know that it is credible, and they are trying to laugh it off as it's a joke and try to discredit me because they think that I'm going to run away. But I think that America should know my personality by now. It's not going to happen.
What are some of the other things you think that Dominion's scared about, things that you know?
Well, the CEO claimed yesterday that they are a bipartisan company. That is a bold-faced lie. Everything he says was a bold-faced lie. Nick, the co-owner, the manager, I keep repeating that, was there, and he made countless comments about Republicans and Trump, and terrible things to the point where I started fearing for my own safety with these people. So if you're a bipartisan company, then why is a co-owner making these comments? That's not a bipartisan company.
And not just making the comments, he was making those comments as the elections were being counted in his presence using his machine.
Yes. And he wasn't the only one, you know. Danielle was making those same comments, even worse. Even people that were wearing American flags, they were saying people that were wearing American flags on their masks or on their shirts were Trump supporters. And so what does that tell you? What does that tell you? That tells you that, what, Democrats hate America. They hate America. They're talking bad about our American flag.
Were there any Dominion contractors or staffers that you saw make pro-Trump or pro?
No, not one time. No. And the whole time I was there, I'll repeat this, and I've said it numerous times, I never saw a ballot for Trump, not one single one in 27 hours. They were all for Biden. I did not see a single, not one, ballot for Trump, not one. That is crazy.
And that brings up, I think, the media's main frame off of what they're trying to take away from the Polos testimony this week. Is they're saying that Polos is saying, even if there were problems with Dominion software, that there's a paper backup of those ballots.
Yeah, there is. But, so I like this, how he said, you know, he's all for doing a recount. Well, he wants to say that because he wants people to believe what he's saying. And he wants them to say, oh, you know, look at the guy's even agreeing to do a recount. He must be telling the truth, right? Well, if we did a recount, then all of those ballots that were ran through those machines wouldn't be counted as many times as they were. That would fix that issue. But would it fix the issue of the ballots that were brought in through the vans?
And you're describing, I want to be clear here, the ballots that showed up at 4 a.m., that was the biggest group. But there were other witnesses, Patrick Kolbeck, I believe, being one, Bob Cushman being another, that saw other groups of suspicious ballots that were showing up way past the 8 p.m. deadline for ballots to show up at the TCF Center.
Yeah, I was there until, I was there from 6 a.m. November 3rd till approximately 5 a.m. November 5th, or 4th. Then went home, went to sleep for a little while, came back.
The 4 a.m. Biden ballot dump?
I did.
And so you saw boxes come in to the TCF.
So I
saw boxes come into the TCF Center.
So I saw the van pull up, and I saw the garage door open. There's people that I do know that did see all this, the ballots being brought out. And I also have a lot of pictures on my phone in which I can show, you know, of the actual Department of Elections. I had a lot of friends out there that were not friends, but people that I've met along the way that were that knew something was suspicious. Something suspicious was occurring there. And they went there and they followed and took videos of what was going on. And it is so interesting to see what is going on there and how there's no denying that there's Penske trucks full of ballots with the city of Detroit guarding the back of them. There are just so many things that, and let me just reiterate that I was scheduled to be there to work there at the Chicago warehouse, in which they called it, but which was the Detroit Department of Election Center. So it's just strange. Here they are right here. So there's people standing on the streets with ballots. Do you want me just to get up?
Sure.
Okay, so this is people standing on the streets that have ballots with them, covered up, face, clearly guarding something, right?
Yeah.
Now, Penske truck, and this right here is a city of Detroit van, which will be in the next picture. The Penske truck will be open, full of ballots. Penske truck, full of ballots, open. Penske truck, okay. Right here, city of Detroit van with a Penske truck in front.
Can you bring it down just a little bit? Perfect. Great.
So this was at the Department of Elections, and these people spent their whole day, and they even have written statements from others that were there that followed these trucks, and you know, they they really are dedicated to helping and to, you know, getting the truth out there to people about what was going on at that place.
And so you saw a data loss. Do you remember what time that was?
So it had to have been around midnight.
I know that there were some people who were watching the results come in, and they say there was I believe a 6-second period of time where 150,000 votes went to Biden at about, I think, 11:35 or 11:38 that night.
PM.
Yeah, PM that night.
So there you go. Okay.
Right around that same period of time that you said. And then the ballots show up at, some people say 3:30, some are between 3:30 and
there's
4.
some discrepancies. Yes, yeah.
And so, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but to combine the things that have been said, if you were able to watch on a network tabulating machine the real-time results as they were coming in, and you digitally altered those results, you would need to have physical ballots to back up those digital results.
Absolutely.
So there's a period of 4 hours where they could have filled out the necessary ballots.
And they did. They sent Samuel over to the Department of Elections, the Chicago warehouse, to assist and with filling out those ballots that were filled out straight Biden. That was it.